Are there still new, small, affordable cars that come to the market? This is here, the all-new Suzuki Swift. That might be something to consider. Let's find out how good is it, this new generation, with Thomas and Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with this. Thomas Blue vehicle color, yeah, a lovely vehicle color. We always call it Thomas Blue because that's my favorite color. That's just the reason for it. Then the front grille, high gloss black. It looks really strong actually for this small car, and the Swift has always been a very likable car indeed. That's has always been the case actually. And here in the front, new LED lamps, and this is then the new daytime running light signature. Always looks interesting when we turn on the turning indicators, for example. Then the length is 3.86 m or 152 inches, so really small, and wheels 15-inch steel would be standard. These are the 16-inch aluminum wheels, so this is like a higher trim level, but still relatively low in the price comparing to other vehicles. And then here you can see the roof. You can also get it in gray or black, but here it's in the vehicle color, and I think it's the right choice. Then you also have this flying roof effect because this area here in the last pillar is painted in black, and so you have, you know, like this blue here and blue there effect. Suzuki claims that they have updated the sound insulation, updated assistance systems, then there's a new mild hybrid technology for the engine, better comfort and so on. But is it all true? We're going to find out. From the exterior we see there's actually a very cool design also in the rear, very clean, and also a new signature here for the tail lamps that looks more three-dimensional. Turning indicators are more or less basic as you see right here. And the same also counts for the rear. Under the hood we have a 1.2 liter 3-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. Oh, ain't that cute. Really nice. Around 80 horsepower and 12.5 seconds is the acceleration figure. We have here the front wheel drive plus manual shifting. There's also a CVT automatic available and also an all-wheel drive version. Also sits in 1.5 centimeters higher than overall, but most customers will go for this one here. Mild hybrid technology always, and that gives you especially some advantages when you drive in the city and can use these recuperation moments. You get a nice tiny key fob, that's really basic. Then door closing sound is not too bad. I mean, yeah, nothing great, but also nothing too bad. And inside of the doors, all hardback materials. Just here is slightly soft, but not really soft. It's just like this cover. What I, however, like here in the higher trims, you also get, you know, the structure in here, also in the bright styling. So that's a great fit to the blue exterior color. Then here, for example, for some bottles in the door pockets, but overall quite slim. Then completely new interior. You can see in this case then also, you don't have to go for it. You can also stick with the dark one, but here also with the bright accentuations. I like that really. All hardback here as well. Steering wheel, still with animal material. These here are real buttons. I like that to control, mute the sound, more sound here for picking up the phone. Right side then for the cruise control. As I said, new assistance systems in the higher trim levels done. This here is the fabric seat, also base, either black or like this with a slightly gray nuance. Let's test the comforts. To me, with 189 or 6'2", I still have plenty of headroom left. Look at that, because it still builds relatively high. So considering I'm a tall adult, you have a quite good seating position. So doesn't promise it on the outside, but it shows it on the inside. Steering wheel can be moved up and down and in and out quite significantly, so you can also find a comfortable seating position. Cockpit perspective here in this trim here, once again with the bright accentuations. I really liked it, and also here there's a structure on the inside. However, the materials are all pretty hard. What is good that it's a real easy user interface. For example, here you have the fan speed, easy to control, and also the temperature here, easy to control, manual, so you can do that while driving as well. Easy stuff. In the lower part you have chargers, all with these covers, USB-C, USB-A, then here another USB-A, not sure why I have to split that way, and then 12 volt. In the front you can put a smartphone or also a big phone fits, but no inductive charging or something. Here this all then not adaptive, so things fly around in there. 5-speed manual gearbox, and this one here, manual handbrake, and this is actually quite cool. The clicking sound and the feedback here for the seat heating, and then you have another storage here, for example, for sunglasses. This is the driver POV, once again with the manual controls at the steering wheel and instruments. They are part digital in the middle part, and you can skip through some information right here. And this then like analog, yeah, manual is like analog, and here RPM and right side for the speed. I really like here these arrows, you know, how they are designed in this racing style. Infotainment system with the car internal map, yeah, I think it's not responsive enough. Most of the time you will use here the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto integration anyway, so this is also wireless, and yeah, that's the main thing you will use actually. By the way, when I turn on the ignition, the 90s are back. They have called and they want their chimes back. And Leah is showing you some more features. First of all, here in the sunblind, there's a card holder in there actually. Very interesting. Then the head restraints themselves, they are really large for such a tiny vehicle. That's actually good. Yeah, good safety thing. And the glove box, by the way, yeah, that one is not dampened, just falls down directly. Very basic doors here on the rear and so on. But you have at least electric controls here for the side mirrors. When you control them, they directly hammer in, so it's also not a sophisticated solution, I would call it that way. Then, how much space do I still have here? Yeah, I mean, it's a really tiny vehicle, so I have to put my legs to the side here, then it somewhat works, but it's not really meant to drive tall adults in the rear. Let's take it that way. But the headroom, that is actually astonishingly high, once again, because of this boxy form. Then Isofix at the outsides of the seats each. You could theoretically also fit a person here in the middle seat, but yeah, that's about it. But the seating itself is actually not too uncomfortable, so that's actually quite fine. It's just that your legs shouldn't be that long. The trunk liter figure of 265 liters sounds really small, but is it so small? So they have this sill, but then it's reasonable space. It's 1 meter or 40 inches in width, and the length here is about 57 centimeters or 22 inches. But it has a significant height here. When you take the lowest point here, then even at 90 centimeters or 35 inches. And that is actually quite cool. To fold the seats, you can grab over like this, and then we have even more in length. Let's go. Yeah. Come on.
Speedy Swift.
Yeah. Plop. That was 50 to 150.
Not bad.
Woo! Yeah, and that was especially funny because just when we were getting on the motorway, there's like an area where you have to drive 50 kilometers an hour. And very often the police stands there and takes the radar camera with them. So I always drive 50 there because that's a clever decision. And then there was someone behind me, and she was like, in that Mini there, she was like flashing me that I'm not driving faster, you know, and you can't overtake there, and you have to drive 50 because otherwise you get a ticket. And she didn't understand, and I was trying to show her that it's 50. And then when it was the motorway, we accelerated out. People like, go, 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 let's flee from her. Yeah, really funny. I mean, the thing is that this 3-cylinder engine here, it kind of sounds good. It sounds sporty. And that is the typical thing about 3-cylinders. They somehow sound more low frequency than the 4-cylinders. It's a funny thing, definitely. But yeah, you see, it doesn't have much power. That's just the way it is. Acceleration on the motorway is not the special thing for the Suzuki Swift. Yeah, it was fun nevertheless. And here, I mean, now it's 120 kilometers an hour. Wind noise are picking up, definitely. Of course, German motorway will always be a part here of our test when we have the vehicles in Germany. So I think up to a speed of 100 kilometers an hour, I think it was okay.
Yeah.
Now at 120, that's picking up. Then that's not ideal. Yeah, you see, it also stands against the wind, although it has been more aerodynamic than before. And yes, if you compare the previous generation, this is more silent now. So
Yeah,
yes,
it's
this.
not that bad.
Yeah, because you know, it was a long time ago, but still remember like the noise level from the previous generation. It was definitely louder. Oh, 5th gear. It's natural aspirated engine, so it's also, you know, you don't have like a turbo or something. And that Mini driver there is still hooking onto us. Nah, she doesn't dare like me driving full speed in a Suzuki Swift. Let's see, now top speed.
Woo!
160. Now I have to use the brakes. But 165 is the official top speed of this one. So, yeah, that was kind of it basically. And I mean, it doesn't feel like in control or something. So there are some small vehicles and also, affordable vehicles, which kind of feel off when you drive them at high speeds. I recently had it with the Dacia Duster, where honestly, at really high speeds, you do not feel safe anymore. Here, at 150 kilometers an hour, and I do a lane change, it's still okay. I mean, it's not a sports car, but it's still fine, So, yeah, wind noise, of course, now really extreme, but this is why I do these tests, really to take the cars to its limit. It's not what the car is designed for. Soon the city driving part is to come. But I want to see how does it react, and it stays relatively calm. So, you afraid?
No.
No. That's a good sign, because when the car would be like really bad or something, then Leah as a passenger would be afraid maybe when I'm driving really high speed. But next to the noise insulation, it's not so much other bad things you hear. But as I said, it's better now in...
You do a good job.
Yeah, good job. Nice boy. So definitely better from noise insulation if you compare previous generation. So it feels a little bit more sophisticated. I think it just would need a little bit more power in general from that engine. But that's maybe also a German perspective. In the right thumb, you can set the speed then, also your plus minus and so on. It also has distance. So it's not really that basic actually. So it does has a distance control. So it keeps the distance there. And on the lower side here, let's see, you can also activate the active lane keeping assist. That hasn't been there before. And see here, so far, actually no hectic steering movements. It stays relatively calm and smooth, I would say. So, oh, now it's warning, yeah, you have to keep your hands on the steering wheel. Yeah, that's okay. But, I mean, yes, it's not meant to be driven on the motorway that, in a primary way, I would say. But for that, I think reasonable job still. She's absolutely crazy. Like, she's following us now, like, I mean, sometimes you don't understand why people do this thing like war on the streets. Like, what hell is it? I think, shall we maybe call the police? I mean, you know that the Autogefühl fake source police is always there for us, so I just need to call them, and then they're right there for us, so, yeah. But that's really the thing, also in Germany, not sure how it is in your country. When you have a small vehicle on the German Autobahn, you do get bullied, period. That's just the way it is. It's always the case, and it's really sad that this is the case. Yeah, but that's just the way it is, and yeah, it's really sad. I can't understand it. I think we should respect all people that are using the road. We all pay taxes for it, so you have the very same right to use it than others do. Yeah, but that's how people are sometimes. We are switching the motorway now, and I think it's a really likable steering input also. Direct, natural, you know what you're doing. This car really tells you, I'm in control and I know what you do. I have a five-speed manual gearbox here, which is fine, using the clutch. I'm driving so many automatic gearboxes nowadays that it's really become rare that I use manual gearboxes, but I directly got into it. It's no problem. It's kind of in my blood because, back in the days I learned just doing the manuals all the time. And here it's very good. Nice shifting, it's also not much resistance in it. It feels nice and sporty. So I actually like both the manual gearbox and also the clutch they have put here in the Suzuki Swift. And some city traffic, more like these 50 kilometers an hour, 30 miles an hour speeds. Well, first of all, what I already mentioned here with the shifting and the clutch, because clutch and shifting is so easy and it's nothing special or where I have to get used to or something. It's really good setup, and so the shifting also in the city is actually pretty easy and it doesn't stress you out at all. So by the way, this speed warning chime when I exceeded by 1 kilometer an hour. Here, for example, from 50 to 70, just go back to the third key in this case, is also enough. we go. Yeah, especially in the third gear, the acceleration actually sounds quite nice, I feel, you know, and again, this nice steering feel, it's really smooth on the road. And here then, of course, at lower speeds, it also doesn't play so much a role that it's loud at higher speeds and so on. And that's actually fine. As for the comfort here in the seats, as I said, the astonishing thing is that you have so much space above your head. And it's also decently comfortable for tall persons, just you know, like in the knee area. There it always gets close when the vehicles are a little bit smaller and so on. But in most cases, you can definitely live with that. Another interesting aspect I didn't mention in the interior part yet is you don't feel or smell it anymore when you're driving, and you also have the AC running and so on, or in general the vents running. But when you get in the vehicle here and it's still very new, there is quite a noticeable smell to this vehicle, and not in a nice new car scent way, but more in a, yeah, it sounds a little bit chemically, artificially. Definitely have to mention that. Yeah, that's just the way it is actually. But driving wise in the city, you really feel at home. So this is where it belongs. And then we can also make use of that hybrid system here. Let me show that to you. So we also have this view meter. It's actually both, like a small in the instruments, but there's also a bigger one in the infotainment system. And when I'm, for example, pulling like the clutch, there we go, then there is no recuperation because the car is just basically rolling. But when I'm actually in, oh, it's a beautiful old Mercedes, look at that. I think it's a 126, right? S-Class, was it? I think so, right? Need to check it up. Now 116 looks a little bit still. Should 126? Yeah, not sure about that. Then here, second gear, for example, I'm in the gear, and then I'm on the brakes, and then you could see that there's energy being regenerated into the battery again. And at the moment, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's almost full actually, because I was doing some downhill. Then I have some assist here from the battery, and so this mild hybrid system really works. So the consumption figures so far were actually quite. That was the autonomous emergency brake warning, because there was a car in front of me. But this was no problem here. So yeah, I mean, you don't feel really the hybrid system, especially not with the manual gearbox, but still you do get back some energy here and there. And then at the end of the review now, we also tell you more about the final consumption figure. And the consumption, around 4 liters on 100 kilometers. Wow, very efficient, lightweight, plus mild hybrid. That means like 60 mpg US and 70 mpg UK. Then pricing, as it stands here right now, with the higher trim, just over 20,000 euros from the German price as a reference. And of course, that's in comparison to other cars which are today on the market still very affordable. Cars have become much more expensive in general. And then you can think, hey, this is one that is at least less than 30,000 euros. And that is something special nowadays. While driving, of course, you do feel that you're not driving a larger vehicle. Yes, you can't deny that. But I think especially from this likability factor, they still nailed it, especially like when you look at it from the exterior design, which is still very crucial here, especially in that segment, and also from the space you have on the inside actually. The only thing, by the way, that will not come is a Swift Sport, a version that was so popular among the Suzuki fans, but Suzuki said they will not do it for this very generation, also due to emission laws and so on. Obviously, they did not see any business case for that anymore. What do you think about the all-new Swift? Tell me in the comments. And you can also check out some other small car reviews here on Autogefühl.